Inside that house that night were 4 people: his wife, her 2 sisters, their 18-month-old child. They had no idea what was coming. In the annals of violent crimes, few cases are chilling and as heartbreaking as that of Carlos Chapeyama, a trained soldier, a husband, a father, and ultimately a man who turned a military weapon on his own family, a life in uniform. Carlos Chapeyama was a member of the Zimbabwe National Army, a disciplined institution tasked with protecting the nation. To outsiders, he was just another soldier, but behind the uniform, sources suggest a man battling deep personal conflict. His marriage to his young wife had reportedly been strained for some time. Arguments had become frequent, tension had become normal, and like many domestic conflicts, it unfolded quietly until it exploded into unimaginable violence. It was a night like any other until it wasn't. Chapeyama had been assigned guard duty at a military facility in Gweru, but sometime after completing his shift, he made a decision that would change everything. He left his post, and he did not leave empty-handed. Armed with a service rifle, he concealed the weapon and traveled across the country towards Bulawayo, to his in-laws' home in New Magwegwe. This was not a random act, it was deliberate. Inside that house that night were 4 people: his wife, her 2 sisters, their 18-month-old child. They had no idea what was coming. According to reports and court findings, Chapeyama arrived and approached the gate. When his wife opened it, perhaps unaware of the danger, he acted. Without warning, without hesitation, he opened fire. The mass-shooting gunshots shattered the silence of the neighborhood. In seconds, 3 lives were lost. His wife, her sister, her younger sister, all killed on the spot. There was no chance to escape, no time to scream, no opportunity to fight back. The attack was swift, brutal, final. Amid the horror, 1 life clung to survival. Their 18-month-old child was caught in the chaos, shot but not killed. The baby survived with serious injuries and was rushed to the hospital. A silent witness to a tragedy too young to understand. After the shooting, Chapeyama turned the weapon on himself. He pulled the trigger, but unlike his victims, he did not die. He survived with serious injuries and was placed under heavy guard in hospital. What led to the violence? Investigations revealed that attack was not random. It was rooted in long-standing domestic disputes. Reports indicate ongoing conflict between Chapeyama and his wife prior to the incident. But even with tension, nothing could justify the scale of violence that followed. From disagreement to anger to murder, a nation in shock. The Zimbabwe National Army publicly expressed shock and grief over the incident. This was not just a criminal case. It was a stain on the image of discipline and control expected of a trained soldier. A man trusted with a weapon had used it not in defense but in destruction. The legal aftermath, court records confirmed the brutal nature of the crime. As soon as wife opened the gate, he randomly opened fire, killing all 3 women instantly. The case became one of the most disturbing examples of domestic violence, escalating into mass murder in Zimbabwe. Chapeyama was later prosecuted for the killings. Beyond the headlines lies a deeper truth. This was not just a crime. It was the collapse of a family. 3 young women lost their lives. A child lost his mother, and a community was left asking, what pushes someone this far? Themes behind the crime. Experts often point to key warning signs in cases like this: unresolved domestic conflict, emotional instability, access to deadly weapons, isolation, and lack of intervention. When these combine, the results can be catastrophic. A story that still haunts, the story of Carlos Chapeyama, continues to circulate on platforms like Tilda Live, not just because of its brutality, but because of its lesson. It reminds us that violence often begins quietly, behind closed doors, in arguments no one else hears, until one day it doesn't stay quiet anymore. In the end, this is not just a story about a soldier. It is a story about anger unchecked, conflict unresolved, and power misused. 3 lives were taken in seconds. A child was left behind, and a nation was forced to confront a painful reality. Sometimes the greatest danger isn't from strangers, but from those closest to us.